Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I have been on a break, enjoying the summer with my son, who has been incredibly busy, enjoying some recreation, some recreation, spending some time with people who know me best and who have advised me and guided me on all of kind of these next steps in life I'm making. And it has been very refreshing and an honor and a privilege. And Happy New Year if you have kids of any age. Happy New Year to us for sure. We are now in high school years with our youngest son, and it has been a beautiful adventure, and I'll share way more of that story with you later. So I want to kick off with probably the most common question that I am asked. And that question is, so what is it like? What is it like to live with narcissistic people? What is it like and what makes narcissistic abuse like so different? So I'm going to go into that just right off the bat. In my studies recently, part of my culture and heritage is Native American, Cherokee in particular. And something I've been studying recently is a Native American word. It's called Wetaiko. And in the Native American meaning, it is an evil, cannibalistic spirit that can take over people's minds, leading to selfishness, insatiable greed, and consumption as an end in itself, destructively turning our intrinsic creative genius against our own humanity. In the presence of Wetaiko in present day, is becoming more and more prevalent and prominent. And many people have a very strong belief that Wetaiko is in fact the spirit of narcissism. And in my experience, in the patterns that I have lived and endured, I would have to agree. So to live with a narcissist is to know many things. It is to know that your worth as a human does not exist unless you have something to offer the narcissistic person, unless you are, like I have been my entire life, the scapegoat, which means that not only is everything blamed on you, the actions, behaviors, sins, and lies, all of those things are projected onto you. You never know at all what the truth is. It is to know and understand that you lose your voice completely because you understand that to use your voice means to suffer deep ramifications. Always emotional, always psychological. For me, it was very physical. But it is also to know that your voice will be betrayed and that everything that you speak in truth or speak in order to reveal will be twisted and manipulated. It is to understand that the experiences that make you who you are not only will be completely denied, but will be just completely trashed and taken away from you. Narcissists seek to very, very much dehumanize people, and that is why this channel and my writings and all of those things is called Becoming Human, because my experience with my psychopathic narcissistic mother and siblings of mine, I just had no value ever. Narcissists exist in a vacuum of just emptiness. It is a constant game of envy, of comparison. It is to understand hatred to a depth that is hard to even imagine people are capable of. It is to understand that the people who are around you are not real to a very large extent. They do not care about relationships other than trauma bonding, other than control and manipulation. There's no one in my family or with my ex who has true, real, meaningful relationships. When you walk away from them, it is to understand that they will talk about you, they will put you down, they will insult you. They will basically just trash talk you into nothingness, because it is the only way that they feel, I think, anything but feel better about themselves by all means. It is a depth of emotional immaturity, but to an even greater extent, it is a lack of empathy and a level of apathy that is very, very hard to grasp. And it is hard to believe that there are people who function this way in the world, and yet it's becoming more and more prevalent. To be with narcissists is to understand that not only do you not matter, but for me, my children didn't matter. And that in their efforts to hurt me and to reduce me in every way that they could, that included my children. With their own children, it is a constant level of criticism. It is yelling, it is condescending, it is gaslighting. The level of suicide attempts in my family, especially of the next generation, is profound and terrifying and heartbreaking. It is to understand that the face they put onto the world and what they get other people to believe about them is the only thing that matters to them. To see what happens in their truth and behind closed doors, to see the things that I had to witness, that my husband and I had to hear from nieces and nephews, heartbreaking things, which includes the ongoing trauma of incestuous relationships. It included ongoing physical and emotional abuse, as well as gaslighting. It is to have those same children who came to us just torn apart for having a conversation with us about the things that were breaking their heart and concerning them. It is to express concern. When you see siblings driving drunk and high with their kids in the world, only to be absolutely raged against for expressing that concern. It is also to be completely unknown. Narcissists do not care about truth. They care about their version of the truth, and their version of the truth is always to reduce you to nothing, to make themselves feel like they are so incredibly superior. It is to know and understand that their version of the truth is really reflective of how very gross and twisted and manipulated their minds are, because what they're speaking and accusing other people of is in fact the very things that they are doing. For example, I've spent years being accused of doing drugs, which I don't do and haven't done, and just be outright accused of that, because the truth that other people in my family and my ex were doing drugs, because a drug dealer was allowed to live with my ex twice, supply not only my children with alcohol and drugs, but also my nieces. It is to have made the mistake of trusting someone with your children at the most low and vulnerable part of my life, only for that to be manipulated and to have my children told that I don't love them, that I gave them away, that I don't care about them, that the only thing I care about is how my kids look and things like that. It is to endure constant smear campaigns and to endure just having your name absolutely trashed and rumors intentionally started, only to realize that those things were actually happening behind their doors, which includes like crazy stuff, like a sibling getting really trashed drunk and having sex on the bed where one of their children was sleeping and they were blackout, and I would come to be accused of that. It is to watch them spiral downward into multiple addictions and chemical numbing, and then to hear claims later that was I, and I abused alcohol terribly. I could not deal with anything really anymore, and it was terrible. It is to know that your kids are being hurt, harmed, and abused because they are your kids. Narcissists are predators, and they know exactly how to find out what your largest vulnerabilities are. And once they know that, they just exploit it to the point where you begin to lose all functionality. It is to know that not only do you stop speaking because you don't want it to be twisted and manipulated, it is to know that in every step you take to fight for and protect your children, that you continue to put them in greater and greater danger, and that you have to fight battles that you know that you can't win, because literally your kids' lives are in danger all the time. It is to know that the people who you should be able to trust, that not only can you not trust them, but that they will and have betrayed you over and over and over. It is to know without a doubt that the more you try to seek healing and truth and break cycles, that hatred cranks up and it ramps up to a level of evil that is meant to destroy. For me, it was to come to the realization that I had been so grossly manipulated and groomed and gaslit my entire life that I literally had to research myself and to expose truth. And it is to know that you can have truth, physical form, data, undeniable scientific proof, and it will not matter. It will be denied. And that the family that is ruled by lies and masks and the opinion of a lot of people who don't matter, and the perception of the outside world is all that matters, and that any step that you take to threaten that is to jeopardize and put so much at stake. It is to know, for me, that the level of envy rears its head in very interesting ways, which includes very fascinating things like constantly being put down, but then behind my back, those same people trying to befriend like my close friends, and because they function in a realm of constant secrecy and lies and clandestine behaviors, that they think that that is how everyone behaves, and that when you have close, good friends and healthy relationships and those people speak out, you will endure a rage like no other. It is to hold everything in until the score that your body keeps is a score that you cannot keep up with anymore. Your body begins to turn on itself. The systems and hormones that are supposed to keep us healthy and regulate our bodies begin to go into overdrive. And as your mental health declines and your physical health declines, for me, it meant losing my ability to walk, to be able to speak freely. I was losing my mind completely. I was paranoid. I became agoraphobic. I was isolated. And as all of these things became worse, the hormones that were meant to protect my body began attacking my body. I had a specialist for literally almost every part of my body and its function. And I was accused of very many things because it is hard to get answers. And if you gain a lot of weight, like I did, you begin to understand the absolute hatred in our society of overweight or obese people, and that people feel very, very entitled to treat you subhuman and like absolute shit. And that was a very new experience for me. So that's kind of what it's like. It is to understand, for me, my closest friends who never left my side, fortunately, my husband, who literally is like such a gift. For me, freedom only came when I stopped speaking completely, but my husband and my best friends and those who truly, really actually knew me saw everything, and I didn't have to say a word. Because then I began to understand that not only was all of it real, it had all been real the entire time. And for those patterns of behaviors to finally be called out by healthy people who saw and understood, because I always had someone with me. I always knew that I was at risk. I knew I was never safe in life. So I always had someone with me. And the only time that those, my family or my ex liked people is when I was with unhealthy people who would engage in putting me down or making fun of me or belittling me or condescending, friends who were never friends, partners or I don't know, whatever you want to call them, who were just as toxic and unhealthy. And, for me, it meant that the abuse of my ex was encouraged. That they believed that I deserved to be treated that way and that my kids deserved to be treated that way. And so they encouraged those patterns to continue. And that has also continued. It has come between my two oldest sons and me. And my youngest son, who's basically been shielded from them, is so incredibly healthy and understanding and we talk about everything and we have overcome so much together, and it is a completely different situation. So I hope that this helps you not just begin to kind of understand those patterns, but also to bring you hope to understand that not only can it be broken in big, big ways, but that healthiness that you crave and that you seek is there. And if you seek it, it will find you. And I know from my best and closest friends, but especially from my husband, that I could not have manufactured or sought any of that out. That those are gifts from the universe, and that you have to remain true and continue to fill up and protect your soul, and that the hell that you go through will become the very things that allow you to power forward in a strength that helps you change the lives of so many people, but especially your children and your children's children. So I've missed you all. I'll be back regularly, and I cannot wait to share more with you and to keep growing and healing together. I hope you have an amazing day and night. I'll see you soon.